Today I'll talk about the quality of being with things. Now, this whole business of being with phenomena is something that's talked about with regards to something unpleasant, and the prescription is that if you stay with this for however long it persists, it'll eventually pass. So, for example, if you experience, say, anger or another negative emotion, the prescription is stay with it, be with it, and it will pass. And the motivation is that it will pass. And a lot of people will be with something because they want it to pass, they want it to go away. And the whole motivation of being with it is to get rid of it. And that doesn't work. I mean, there's two aspects to this. First, it doesn't work. Second, when people are with something, for example, if you're with anger or with your sadness or with your frustration, the temptation is that you shouldn't feel anything negative, or you shouldn't feel sad, or you shouldn't, I shouldn't feel jealous, or you shouldn't feel anything that your mind or your value system classifies as a dark trait or a dark side. So what does it really mean to be with things as they are? To be with things as they are is an act of compassion. There's a word in Buddhism, in Pali Buddhism, called kanti. Kanti means patient endurance. Patient endurance. It comes from the Sanskrit term kshanti. It's a forbearance. So it's not a forbearance as in, you grit your teeth and you get through it, but it's an open-hearted quality which says, okay, this emotion of anger or sadness or fear is here right now, and I will allow it to be just as it is. And the way you get through this without it completely overcoming you, I mean, it takes patient forbearance, or kanti takes strength. Right? It takes an inner strength. You're cultivating inner strength. But it also takes inner strength. There's times when you can't do it. And at that moment, you are sad about being angry, and you're proliferating. So in order to stop the process of proliferation, which is going to make things worse, one prescription that I've heard from a teacher is to really feel the emotion in the body, where it is in the body, and cut that away from the storyline. So you could have a storyline that so-and-so did that to me, and because of that, I'm justified in my anger, or I'm justified in my sadness. And the storyline is going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, and keeps going. And it can be infinite. The mind has an infinite capacity to do that. So what you do is you feel it in the body. Where do you feel it? You feel it, say, emotions like that. I think for me, I feel at the base of my throat and in the heart. And you feel that, and you say, what is it? So one of my teachers suggests you say, what's the sound that this emotion would make? Is it, oh, and you really come and connect with it. You say, oh, and you stay with that. And as you stay with it, and you stay with it and you stay with it, there'll be a moment where suddenly you don't feel that, right? But what the mind does is the mind goes, hey, 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 hang on. I need to hold on to that because it isn't resolved. It isn't resolved. And when the mind is trying to resolve things at that level, it just does not let go. It just holds on, right? Because the mind fixes things through thought. But if you put thought away and you come into just the feeling, which is connecting with something called the chitta or the heart mind that I talked about in one of my previous little talks, and staying with the chitta is just, it's like there's a phrase in the Metta Sutta that they use in Buddhism. So in Buddhism, in the Metta Sutta, was the sutta on loving kindness. Towards the end, there's a stanza which says, just as a mother protects her child, her only child, right? So a lot of teachers say, protect your heart or your goodwill just as you would protect a child. You know, you wouldn't be mistreating it. You'd be holding it gently, and you'd listen to all its complaints, and you would comfort it, and that's how you'd care for it, right? And this is not to say that when action is needed, you don't take action. I'm talking about patient forbearance when you've done everything in the realm of action, like you've done whatever it is that you had to do in the realm of action, and there isn't a way to get past it. Then you sit with it with patient forbearance. And this patient forbearance is a quality of the heart. You know, you're not sitting with it to get rid of it. Another phrase that the Buddha uses is having tea with Mara. So Mara is the god of death, that in every turn of the Buddha's life, Mara comes and tries to take him off the path. And at one stage, Buddha says, I'm going to have tea with Mara. I'm going to sit with this being with compassion. So that's what being with phenomena is like. It's not easy. It's not clean. It's not so that you get rid of it. It's just being with things as they are in the moment.